Welcome back to News Geelong as we continue with the pulsating world of Geelong sport and our own flying hawk, Nathan Curry. Good evening, Nathan. What's the latest sports news, my friend?
Thanks very much, Ruler. I'm down here at Skilled Stadium to get all the latest from the Geelong Football Club. But before we do that, we'll turn our attention to the Geelong and District Football League, where News Geelong caught up with Werribee Central's coach David Leach after their solid win over North Geelong on the weekend.
Dave got the win, but not a convincing performance by any means of imagination.
Yeah, Kel. I thought it's always tough coming up to these games at the end of the year, and especially like they'd like to put a couple of good performances together towards the end. And I suppose it's probably no different with Bannockburn last week. Probably had 2 or 3 changes. Played Nida and Kitch in the twos today to give them a run to get some fitness back. And our boys played okay in patches, but unless you play 4 quarters, Kel, in a finals, you're not going to win a final, let alone get it to a grand final. So yeah, good in patches. Pressure around, not too bad. Turned it over through the middle a few times. Disposal could get better. Yeah, we'll see how we go in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. I personally noticed, I reckon, the work rate of your side probably not where it was at the start of the year. Also, do you think you're missing an X factor in the middle, or do you think you're missing the X factor that you had a couple of years ago, particularly when you're one of those 10 games that you don't have at the moment? Yeah,
no, I don't. Like, I think our side's better than what it was even when we were winning those games. Like, we won those games and our draw was different then. So I'm not too concerned about the 10 in a row. The X factor, look, we've got 2 or 3 players to come back into that. Like when Hawley's up and about, he's an X factor. Knight is one of our. He was great at Spotty last year, and Knight will come back in the side, and he can play some real good footy. Kitchen go to half forward, and then that allows Pilco to go up the ground a little bit more. Buffer and Lovell deeper, I think are hard to match up on, and Hards is doing a pretty good job at the moment. So yeah, I don't think we're missing an X factor. I think that we need to be able to play 4 quarters of football and play within what we can control, and that's getting the hard footy and using the pill. And if we don't play that for long periods of time, it does allow sides to kick a couple of goals and get away from us. So unless we can do that, we're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah. Do you think there's space for 3 talls in your forward line?
3 talls in the forward line. So you got Nate. Yeah, Kitch is nearly smaller than you, Cal. So yeah, and you're both about the same weight. So so Kitch will come back. Kitch is very good body, and he's good around, and he's strong one-on-one. So can I play NATO Buff and then Kitch out a little bit higher? Yeah, for sure. And then you throw in Simon Calvert and then a small forward can stretch a back line. So and all sides these days, we know what each other's forward lines are going to line up are going to be virtually anyway. So it's just about rotating them through half forward and trying to get a different matchup if we can. So can I play 3 talls? Yeah, we can.
Thanks very much for your time, David. We'll now turn our attention to the racing world, and who better to do that than my good friend, John Dunn.
An almost balmy spring day greeted racegoers here last Friday for Footy Almanac Race Day. And members of the Footy Almanac family, well, they enjoyed their day at the races. Early on in the day, Sky Flight was one of the few youngsters with race experience, and the Colin Little trained youngster finished best.
Down towards the 200 metres, Relentless had to ease, he had to check, he couldn't get a run. Sky Flight now goes after Nobles Roman. Relentless won one rein, and then came Famous by Name. Sky Flight from Famous by Name, who's now starting to come. Relentless late, Famous by Name lunging, just missed, and Sky Flight wins.
The Peter Snowden trained youngster K-Line, he'd had one start for a good third at Canterbury, and he ran right up to that form to score a big win in maiden plate number 2.
Tally Costa from Colleen, who now goes straight past it, and it's Colleen opening up and wins like a good horse. Colleen by a length and a half.
It was good to see local trainer Anthony Sexton in the winner's stall when Etoile Rouge took out the footyalmanac.com handicap. Lisa Crop in the saddle. It was the second win for this fellow in 20 starts.
Then Macca's Mess, behind those Cashmore Lady, Etoile Rouge with a second wind. Got away by a length and a half, 2 lengths on Amazing Luck. Late to finish as Mrs. Elgie's roaring home, but it's Etoile Rouge all the way. Etoile Rouge scores by 2 lengths.
In the last race of the day, the big money came for the top weight, Zachary Quack. But it was the Robert Smurden trained mare, Marsh Harbour, who ran up to her good city form in recent starts and got the money to finish off the day.
Zachary Quack's under pressure here. It's Gadabout coming through along the inside, along with Marsh Harbour and Gaffour. Marsh Harbour sprinted quickly got to Gaffour. Marsh Harbour's come away. Marsh Harbour's strong, wins by a half length.
And that's the wrap-up of racing. footyalmanac.com race day here at Geelong last Friday. All on again this Friday afternoon, same time, same place. Hope to see you here.
Thanks very much, JD. Well, now that racing is done for this week, It's time to turn back to the Geelong Football Club to get all the latest from their coach, Chris Scott. Now, Chris, Dean Bailey has been sacked since the Geelong loss. Do you feel somewhat responsible for that, or what's your thoughts surrounding that whole issue?
Oh, I don't take responsibility for it. I don't feel good about it, but it's not for me to comment on the way Melbourne handle their affairs.
What can you take out of the Melbourne game?
We thought before the game and before the last few games that it was really important to bed down the way we want to play. So the opposition's always important, but it was more about concentrating on the way we wanted to play, and we felt that we did that really well. We defended aggressively early, made it hard for Melbourne, and the game opened up a little bit. So the way the game finished was not as important to us as the way it started.
Finally, Chris, Cam Mooney was really strong in his returning match. Will he definitely play again this week?
Yeah, he's pulled up pretty well. He performed quite well, but as I said after the game, it's only the first step for Cam. We haven't had our main session yet, so we need to see how he gets through that. But so far so good with Cam, but he's got a few more hurdles he needs to jump to convince us, but more importantly convince himself that he can perform under the pressure of a finals environment.
Thanks very much for your time, Chris, and we'll catch up with you again on our Friday night show. But until then, as always, it's back to you, Rollo.
Thank you, Nathan. See you on Friday evening for another sports special. Now to the Geelong and Surf Coast weather for the next 6 days. It's a very good evening to our scintillating Sophie Miller, comfortable and warm in our News Geelong studios. Good evening, Sophie. How's this winter weather continuing?
Thank you, Graham, and good evening to our News Geelong viewers on another cold winter evening as we take a look at our predicted weather conditions over the next 6 days. Tomorrow, Thursday, Geelong and the Surf Coast area will see a mostly sunny day with rain developing overnight and an expected top of 21. Friday we'll see cloudy conditions with areas of rain and a top of 16. Starting off the first Saturday in August, we will see cloud with areas of rain and a top of 13. For Sunday, it will be partly cloudy with isolated showers and an expected top of 14. To start off the new week of August, Monday we'll see partly cloudy conditions, continue with isolated showers developing with a top of 14. Tuesday is expected to be partly cloudy with patchy rain in and around the Geelong and Surf Coast areas with a top of 14. Today, Wednesday, around Geelong and the Surf Coast areas was mostly sunny, reaching a top temperature of 21. That's the weather outlook for tonight, so continue to rug up and keep warm. Until Friday evening, it's back to you, Graham.
Thank you, Sophie. And thank you for being with us on News Geelong this Wednesday evening. To Julie Armstrong from Grovedale, happy birthday. Remember, Julie, take your time and smell the flowers. From all the team at News Geelong, have a pleasant evening and a very good night.